Welcome to Life by Design. I'm your host, Robyne, and I am thrilled to welcome you to this space for real conversations about how we live, how we show up day in and day out, because the quality of our life is shaped by our habits. What we do in ordinary time allows us to be extraordinary. We can unpack what it takes to truly live well and be well in real life. Welcome to Life by Design. And I'm just so excited that you're here. On today's episode of Life by Design, I had the opportunity to connect with Dr. Andy Galpin. Now, he is someone in the physiology space that is the go-to resource, especially when people ask me about top performance. Like, he works with all of them, the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, Olympians, and he also works with business personnel. And he has just this radical, clear approach to helping people level up, skill up, be able to do what they need to do in such a meaningful way. His newsletter, it should be a paid newsletter as far as I'm concerned. It is so full of information, top science that is well curated to give us the just in time information that we are looking for. His community and his podcast Perform, it is so useful. So I hope you enjoy this conversation with Dr. Andy. And again, thank you for making suggestions of people who you want me to interview. Welcome back to the episode of Life by Design. As I said in the intro, I am so excited to welcome Dr. Andy to this episode. Thank you so much, Andy, for making time for this.
I'm excited to be here.
Beautiful. So, Dr. Andy, I could share with you as somebody who studies like psychology deeply, I'm all about knowing where to go for good information. And for all things physiology, you are the go-to source. I am so excited to ask you some questions today and just to introduce my audience to your work because it is so refreshing in a space that is so noisy and clouded with so much misinformation that you are like a beacon when it comes to good information for the right reasons.
I'm incredibly grateful for your kind words there, and means a lot to me. So thank you.
Beautiful. Now, for folks who, I've seen so many of your podcasts. I've been an avid listener of Perform for many, many seasons, as well as your newsletter, Catalyst. It is just such an amazing resource. And I know folks are always so curious to ask you about like optimal performance, top achievers, like what do those folks do that, other people aren't doing? And I love that body of work you created. The questions that came in from my audience that they wanted to get your insight on, and I'm really curious about it too, is what about when things aren't optimal? What about when we're going through maybe change or stress or a difficult season and we still know we have to look after our bodies? We still know we want to do something, but maybe we're not as resourced in that moment or that season or that time in our life. Where do we even try or where do we start?
Yeah, I mean, I love the topic. We deal with it all the time. First of all, I am a human as well, so I have to deal with this personally. And one kind of mistake or misunderstanding about these high achievers and world class individuals, whether they're athletes or non-athletes, business people, they still deal with life too. They
Yes.
have flights get canceled, they get sick, they have all the things happen. So we call this chaos management.
Mhm.
And this is one of the words actually you brought up at the beginning is resilience is really important. In fact, our sleep company, they always call it like sleep optimization. And we
Yeah.
always punch back. We're like, no, we are not sleep optimization. We are sleep resilient. And that is
Mhm.
how to get an effective night of sleep when all things go wrong. And
Yes.
so it's a huge part of our ethos for all of our stuff. So really excited to talk about it.
Amazing. So let's kind of look at this perhaps like on a really practical example. So let's say that folks are navigating like some big catastrophic issue. Let's just say that they're just feeling a little bit out of sorts, maybe just a little under resourced. Maybe they didn't get a great sleep last night. Maybe they're navigating jet lag, and you kind of look at your day and say like, what where will I get the best return on my investment if I locked in or I did these few things?
Yeah, so philosophically, and I won't go too long here, and then we
Yeah.
can go into any level of detail we want, but the way that we want to think about it is this is basic prioritization.
Yes.
And that means you have to have that done a priori beforehand, right? If you're making the decisions in the moment, you're very likely to default to whatever your best thing is. or your worst option, right?
Yes.
So not good, right? We have clear data on when people have a bad night of sleep, they're more likely to choose high caloric foods.
Hmm.
Okay, so then you're in the circle there, and we could give a ton of examples of that. And so we want that decision making process to be done way beforehand. So we at all times have very clear priority lists. In fact, the way that we deliver our programs to people, and probably very arguably the highest compliment we get back when people get their stuff is
Yeah.
it was so nice to just know what's my top priority, my second,
Yeah.
my third, my fourth, and beyond for this exact
Yeah.
reason, right? So we will typically go through, call it 3 months at a time where we have
Hmm.
very clear priorities. You're going to try to do all the things,
Hmm.
but we understand, and we'll actually walk them through this stuff where if we're in, say, a time where we're prioritizing sleep, that means if, shit hits the fan, what do you do? Do you do your workout or do you sleep?
Hmm.
We haven't already answered.
Yeah.
It's done. Like it's right there. And we know it's not forever, but it's this next 4 weeks or this next whatever the cadence is
Yes.
that our choice is that. And so we're not choosing sleep one day and then choosing exercise the next time. And then we're end up like kind of getting nothing done because we
Yes.
didn't put enough stress into enough particular place to make enough change. So the highest level answer is that it's having per a prioritization system. And I want to be really clear, you don't need a ton of data for that.
Hmm.
Like you don't have to have all the science and resources to know what that thing is. You can just make that choice, right? And say, hey,
Yeah.
right now, and the way that we will phrase this often is, what's your biggest anchor?
Hmm.
What's the thing that is holding you back the most? And prioritize that for, as I mentioned now several times, at least like 4 to 12 weeks. That's a
Right.
range where physiological adaptations, behaviors, and habit changes. Like it's hard to get those things done in less than 10 days.
Yes.
So give it a realistic shot. And then if it's been longer than that, we might really actually think the opposite. Like you actually need to change priorities. You've been stuck on
Exactly.
this for 8 months. Like we got to do something different now at this point because now we're kind of in a groove. So that's our top tier philosophical pattern is you
Mhm.
have that choice made. That way it's clear. I can give you an exercise example of that, which is
Sure.
to say like you've got, an exercise plan that's supposed to be this long and this big. And for whatever reason, you don't feel like it or time
Mhm.
or equipment, all the things. What do you do? Do you do all the exercises in your program and then just do like maybe half the sets to get through it? Or do you just do the first 5 or 3? Do you take weight off because you can't finish because it's too heavy that day, you're not feeling it?
Yeah.
Or do you keep the weight on and all those things can be answered ahead of time. And so it's a
Right.
clear understanding of, hey, today, in a made up example,
Yeah.
we want to get your body moving a lot of different ways. So if you're short on time or energy, you're not feeling great, drop the weights, drop the reps, and just get through all the exercises because we want your body doing lots of different motions.
Mhm.
Okay. Or the opposite. Hey, we're really trying to get made that shoulder pain to go away. So I want you to make sure we're quality of A, B, and C the first three
Right.
exercises. And if we lose the last five, we can live with that
Mhm.
or whatever the case is. So again, it's just a little bit of forethought ahead of time and with the clear understanding of what we're trying to do rather than just kind of going through motions. And that can answer a huge chunk of our chaos management.
Yeah, I even just love that notion of chaos management. In my work, when I'm supporting groups and teams and organizations, we often talk about this idea about cope ahead of time. So,
Yeah.
like, just, again, slow down long enough to get just a wee bit of insight as to likely where the pitfalls, where those things likely going to come up, and already have a plan in place to address that. And, even it could be something outside of like the physical well being sense of like, if you have a really difficult conversation coming up, like blocking out the next 30 minutes in your calendar and going out for a walk, like will serve you so much better than jumping into the next task. So you're able to process that emotion, you're able to work through it. So yeah, it's just having that kind of foresight into in terms of knowing what's on the horizon. Now, I really want to just pull that thread what you said about like we don't need perhaps as much information as we think we do. One of the kind of issues that I have, for example, with wearables is that people put too much emphasis on things that really don't move the needle. But again, people come up to me all the time and be like, "Oh, my HRV this or my deep sleep that and all these kind of things." And it's like, and I say, "How do you feel?" and they haven't even really checked in on how they're feeling. They're letting this, this inanimate object give them data, which has a place. But I'm curious what your thoughts are about how do we use that information in a way that continues to support us and we don't become like obsessive about some of that, because I see some of this wearables are making folks more anxious than they were before.
Yeah, I mean, there's something called orthosomnia, right? Which is data or wearable induced clinical
Yes.
insomnia.
Hmm.
So it's not innocuous. These things can be problematic. More data is not necessarily better. And we will often say bad data is worse than no data.
Yes.
And
Totally.
with really cheap consumer wearables, despite the marketing and advertisement stuff you get, uh, depending on how you're using them and what you're using them for, they can absolutely be bad data. And I don't even necessarily mean the technology. I just mean the way you are interfacing with the information,
Yes.
right? This could be a you, could be nothing to do with the technology issue. So we will pull trackers and wearables off of people incredibly often. We will pull away tracking your workouts. We will pull away tracking your meals and weighing and measuring. Like we will pull that stuff away, which when we some like very often, I would probably say 20 to 30% of the time, we have to remove that stuff from people
Mhm.
rather than add it. And we have, oftentimes endless resources with people, and we will pull those things back.
Right.
So kind of the high level thing that we answer that with is it needs to be serving you. If it is, great. If it's not, then we're going to walk away from it. And that is true for anything that we would ever possibly use. So, some rough things that kind of consumer wearables are reasonably good for is general accountability.
Right.
All right. This can be something like, again, the research is clear and it's matched up with my experience that when people are being watched, they tend to
Mhm.
make a little bit better behavioral choices.
Yes.
Coach is going to look at your sleep data.
Yeah.
Who cares if it's accurate? And so
Right.
you're just gonna like, "Nah, okay, I'm not gonna do that next that third episode tonight.
Mm-mm.
I'll get you right. I know they're gonna
Yeah.
check in on." So that's helpful. Again, the data could be wrong, but someone's watching, so you're accountable to yourself and you're potentially accountable to somebody else. They're good for rough calibration.
Mhm.
If you look at sleep trackers, most people either grossly overestimate their sleep or they do the opposite. Oh, I sleep 4 hours a night, and then we look at their
Mhm.
data, and we're like, "You're at 7.5."
Yeah.
Like, well, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Yes.
Sleep onset, how long it takes people to fall asleep. People have zero accuracy. We see both ends of the spectrum. I fall asleep right
Mhm.
away. We're like,
Mhm.
nope, takes you like
That
25
yeah.
minutes.
Yes.
Or we get the opposite. It takes me forever. We're like, it's 8 minutes. Like it's
Yes.
8 minutes. Like you're really
Yeah.
going really fast. So for rough calibration of basic things, where we start to lose the plot is precision. So if
Mhm.
you're making choices because you're hyper fixated on something like, and you mentioned HRV,
Yeah.
deep sleep, we know those are highly flawed in trackers.
Mhm.
Highly, highly flawed, let alone flawed conceptually. You don't
Mhm.
necessarily want to maximize deep sleep every night. That's not actually
Exactly.
how your brain operates.
Yeah.
So if you're simply taking that information and you're using it to make better lifestyle choices, okay, I'm fine. But if you're hitting the sledgehammer with pharmaceuticals,
Yeah.
or big changes like that, then I'm like, hold on. You're putting
Yeah.
a really powerful drug in your body based on really cheap technology that's not optimized in this case for
Mhm.
sleep. Wearables are not optimized for that. Wearables are not optimized for data. They're optimized for battery life.
Right.
They're optimized for I'm not kidding.
That's
Like this
clever.
is like
Yes.
that's the top end thing, right?
Yeah.
They're optimized for aesthetics. Like
Mhm.
it's got to look like a lifestyle thing. Is like that's what they're optimized for. And they're like it's got to be kind of good on sleep.
Right.
So then
I
you're
love
making
that.
big, big choices that matter a lot. If the choice is helping you being like, yeah, maybe I won't have wine tonight. Well,
Mhm.
great. Again, we're winning here.
Yeah.
So like, let's not
Yeah.
walk away. Let's not use information to kill motivation if we're
Yes.
in the right direction. But that's how you want to think about these things. So we will constantly ask ourselves, is this serving thing? Are we getting
Mhm.
better? Are we making improvements? If not, like we're walking away from it, peeling it back, independent of the financial
Mhm.
cost. It
Right.
has mental cost, it has mental load cost, it has choices. Like there's a cost one way or the other. So that's roughly how we think about small wearables like that.
Yeah, I appreciate that insight, and it's golden. And the other piece that I'm so curious about as well is the idea that, like, of all the things we can be doing, right? Like essentially it would be like a full-time job if we took all of this generic advice that we hear in different places and spaces. And when I'm supporting groups, one of the things that I really try to really reinforce is, this is very generic information and you need to figure out with what works best for you. And yes, we know what the research says and yes, we know that for certain groups of people, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it needs to make sense for you. It needs to be something that's sustainable because I believe that consistency compounds and doing a little bit of the things that work really well in a consistent way will give us a really solid return. And so when people are feeling overwhelmed and say to me, like, Robin, I don't even know where to start. I don't know if it's sleep. I don't know if it's nutrition. I don't know if it's physical. Is it weights? Is it cardio? Is it this? Is it that? Do you have any suggestions or strategies on where people can like lock in to figure out for them personally, Dr. Andy, where they would probably get a good return on their energy and time and focus?
Yes, excellent. You got to remember, physiology has backup systems,
Yes.
enormous redundancy. And why I'm saying that is you don't have to do all the things in all the areas to get a systematic response.
Mhm.
So which one do you start with? You have two options, and you can go either direction. We've had success with both, and these options do not like anything like each other.
Okay.
So option one is what we call rip off the band-aid,
Mhm.
which is you're making a wholesale sweep. We're throwing a whole house away and rebuilding
Yeah.
everything from scratch. We are changing what you eat, when you eat, your mental
Mhm.
health, who you hang out with, your exercise routine. We're throwing the whole damn thing away
Yeah.
and we're starting from scratch. And some people respond well to that.
Mhm.
So, Robin, this is you're doing sleep, you're doing
Yes.
exercise, we're doing every damn thing. We're getting on supplements, we're doing blood, we're doing the whole damn thing now.
Yes.
And sometimes that's needed because you need that jolt.
Yes.
You can't just kind of like dabble and try one thing. Like you need just a full rip off and you need it to hurt for 20 days or something.
Yes.
And then you start to feel the difference and you're like, great, I'm never going back to that
Yeah.
gas station food every day for breakfast and Red
Yeah.
Bulls all day. And like, you're just never doing this again because I feel the difference. The other approach, I'm sorry, with that approach, it's scary. It's terrifying. The barrier to entry is enormous.
Yes.
It's huge and it's going to hurt. Right. But you sometimes you like my friend actually Ken, his book just hit the bestseller list yesterday.
Congratulations again. That's exciting.
It's a great, yeah. It's
Yeah.
called Everything You Want Is on the Other Side of Hard.
Right.
And this is the Ken right out approach, right? This
Yeah.
is like, no, you're gonna go run 155
Yeah.
miles through the desert in
Yeah.
Mongolia. Like you're
Yes.
gonna go through this crucible
Yeah.
because that's what it takes to make a real change that it's gonna last your lifetime.
Right. You're blowing up your identity. You are literally blowing up all of your systems, your identity, the whole story. It's like, this is a whole new movie, whole new plot, whole new everything.
Yep. And you have to have that because that way all the systems actually line up now.
Yes.
Right. You got to have that. So that's one option.
Yeah.
And we hit that button sometimes. We're generally pretty honest with people. We're like, we call these like, there's rebuild and upgrade, right? And this is
Yes.
rebuild. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
do you want in for this? Yes or no? It's kind of like checking yourself into life rehab. Like
Yeah.
we're
Totally.
doing it all, right? Now, I'm being maybe a little dramatic here, but
Yeah.
like you get the point, right? We got
I
to
get
change a
it
lot
for
at
sure.
once. It's gonna
Yeah.
suck. The other approach is the opposite and saying, okay, I'm not ready for that. I don't even necessarily need that per se.
Mhm.
um, I do have kind of two or three or four things that are lingering around. And what we would do in that particular case is to swing so far the other direction where we say, we're actually doing one thing only.
Yes.
And I know you want that second, third, and fourth thing, but we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Non negotiable, they're not on the table.
Yeah.
We are doing one thing. And we are going to get so good at that one thing. And then we'll do the next thing in 3 months
Mhm.
and the next thing in 3 months. And you know what? If you do that, you know how much your life would be changed in 18 months?
Yeah.
Like it's just really there, right? We would do that. And so the barrier to entry to that is much lower.
Yes.
It's more realistic,
Mhm.
right? So it's easier when you're focused on one particular thing. You're gonna do a 3-minute stretching routine 3 times a day, but you're gonna do
Mhm.
it every single day.
Yes.
That's the only change we're gonna make, right? We're gonna eat one uh, a serving of protein every time you eat, or
Mhm.
making these things up, right? I'm not even saying these
Yeah,
are good
no, I
ideas, but
totally
you get
get
the point. It's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and we hammer you, and every day you get a text message. Did you do the stretches?
Mhm.
Did you do your stretches? Like, did this is what we're going to get done, right? And we're gonna like
Yeah.
this is the one thing we're gonna go after, and that tends to work really well because it's extreme focus and it feels hard, but it's manageable.
Yes.
All I got to get done is this. All I got to get
Mhm.
done. And if I get my meditation in, great, but it's okay. If I get my gratitude journal, okay. But you're
Mm.
like, I'm gonna get this in. I'm gonna get this in. I'm gonna get this in. I got sick. I got busy. We can still fit this thing in,
Yeah.
non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And then we that thing that we pick is the thing that is our biggest anchor.
Mhm.
And so the way we'll ask our clients is we'll say, if I could fix one thing,
Yes.
what would that be? And then that's what we do. There's
Mhm.
no messing around here. Like that's
Mhm.
that's what we're gonna go after, right? What is the thing that would help your life the most? What hurts the most?
Yeah.
And that's what we do. So those are the two extremes. We generally don't
Mhm.
like to play in the middle, like at
Yeah.
all, because you just kind of don't do enough to get things done.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that so much, Dr. Andy. And what I as a behaviorist, what I get so excited about, like both of those perspectives are so key. And what I absolutely love is like, yes, in some cases, those seasons, people do need a complete control, alt, delete, overhaul because they've just picked up so much things that are going to inevitably become barriers and roadblocks they won't be able to punch through and push through. So like I see where that has a place. And I think, again, from a behavioral perspective, that notion of being like, having radical clarity, this one thing, build the habit before we try to improve it or expand upon it. And one of the things, kind of 2 points. First is that there's so much misinformation in our culture that there is like this middle ground where you have to do all of the things. And if you do these key things, it's going to, all of these, hype cycles, instant results, all of these things that just make me cringe
Yeah.
because we know that it's a market, right? Like it's if any of these products worked as well as people claim they would, it would be a terrible business model because people would
Yeah,
use them once, right?
for
And
sure.
then they'd be like, "Cool, I found that pill and now I don't have to do anything else."
Yep.
And so my question is because there's this like human tendency to find shortcuts, and if you were to say, "Hey, for the next 90 days, 3-minute meditation, that is it." I feel like people are going to go rogue, right? People are going to be like, "That's not enough. I want to move faster." And I often talk about in the other direction where we can't heal faster than time can go, but we also cannot acquire new habits faster than time and our nature allows us to. So, what do you do with that tension in the middle where people want quicker results? They want it to be more complicated, and there are all of these false promises that they're trying to make sense of.
Sure. Philosophically, me as Andy as a human being, I have to acknowledge that I don't operate mentally the same as everybody else.
Fair. Okay.
So what I like personally, the way I like to coach is oftentimes a reflection of what worked for me and my
Yes.
personality, right? So what we try to get across to people like that, number one, is the advice I'm about to tell you is based on evidence, our
Mhm.
experience, and in large part, my own personality. If this is
Yes.
not jiving with you immediately, then like tell
Yeah.
me and we'll either get you another coach on our team or
Mhm.
like I'll come at you as close as I can in the way I think you
Yeah.
like to receive information. Why I'm saying it is because we have some people who will say that. They'll go, hey, look, great. I'm on it. I got this. I'm done with this. I want the next thing. I want the next thing. I want the next thing.
Mhm.
And if they are a personality like mine, I can just tell them very logically,
Yeah.
hey, we're doing A, B, and C, and this is why. This is non negotiable.
I
Why?
love
Because you're
that.
paying me. I know
Yes.
better than you. That's why
Yeah.
we're done here. Like, there's
Yeah.
no, that doesn't work for some personalities, like
Yeah.
at all. Right.
Totally.
So we would potentially take a different approach. We say, okay, maybe let's collect data. I
Mhm.
think we should go this route. You should maybe we should go that route. Let's collect data. It's not my opinion anymore.
Yeah.
Not your opinion. Like let's collect objective data. We're gonna make sure it's standardized. We collect it in a scientific way with
Yes.
it's the same time every day. Like we're gonna
Yep.
collect good data with appropriate, reliable devices, and we're all here to win, which
Yeah.
is you getting better, right? So it's like I don't care if my we're not a like I'm not a methods guy. I don't
Right.
sell a particular and by sell I don't mean like credit card.
Yes.
I mean like
Yeah. Yeah.
convince you, right?
Yeah.
A style of workout, a training approach, or like I don't. I'll use whatever works for the
Mhm.
outcome for the person, right? And so we have some people who can do that, right? Some of our professional athletes could do this. The vast majority can't. The vast majority of
Mhm.
professional athletes are worse at this stuff than you guys are, like
Yeah.
way, way, way worse.
Yes.
So some of our very meticulous business people are better at that than their
Mhm.
athletes when they
Yes.
can legitimately be like, I did my 3 minute meditation, but bring me the next thing, bring the next thing, bring the next things,
Mhm.
right? And they want to go to bed knowing they literally did as many things as they possibly can. So it's fine.
Yes.
We can actually do that. We can find success there a lot. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm thinking of one guy in particular snapped his ankle this season, October 12th, complete dislocated, broke everything in his leg. And
Yeah.
92 days later, he was on a football field in uniform. He's that
That's
guy.
wild.
He's the guy
Yeah.
that's like, no, I did this and he's got it done. And
Yeah.
I can stack 50
Yeah.
things on him and he'll have a checklist. He marks it off. He has a spreadsheet. Like I have access to the spreadsheet. I'll see what he
Mhm.
missed a minute. Like, we have it. Like he's just completely dialed like that.
Yes.
Most can't, right? So
Yeah.
it is saying what's realistic, what's not. And I think it's important for you to listen to this to say those things are possible,
Mhm.
right? You can do a bunch of different stuff out there.
Mhm.
We obviously prioritize the big stuff, and we work our way down in the middle. And but if you're the person who you're like, no, I'm really dialed in these things. If you
Yeah.
pick up habits quickly, I was actually just with another one of our people this weekend, and he's the type he's like he wants to do the same thing every single day.
Mhm.
Like, literally so habit change is very easy for him.
Yes.
It's, like, very easy. And then we have others who are just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm suffocating." Like,
Yeah.
I can't eat the same thing even for leftovers, let alone the same lunch
Yeah.
every day or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's personality matching.
Mhm.
It is the biggest thing. What's realistic? It's still gonna be hard. That's consistent across everyone.
Yes.
But how much does that hard hurt you? And is it
Mhm.
worth it in exchange?
Yeah.
So that's how we'll generally kind of think about it. My default is I don't believe you.
Yeah. I
I don't
love it.
believe you because everyone says that they're
Yeah.
Fred, and they're not.
Yes. No.
It's like everyone says like I'm committed, and
Yeah. No. I get it. Okay, Dr. Annie, while we have you, so I have the opportunity to support some high performance athletes. I have three in my own household, and my youngest, he's a senior basketball player. He's going all in, and he's having a great run, 17-0 season thus far. And one of the questions that I get asked so often, because I have access to people like you, is a lot of parent supporters, coaches, and things like that talking about like, okay, if we take these young athletes that are definitely in like a peak season, what are some of your like these are like the golden nuggets that whether it be like recovery behavior, whether it be snacks, what you want to see them doing. So if you had a squad of basketball players and they are in peak season going into their, big time, obviously right now March Madness is a pretty exciting time in our household, as you can imagine. Curious what your bracket is. That's another question. But like, what are those like golden tickets, so to speak, of like, if I'm thinking about these high performing athletes, what are the things that I want to make sure I'm getting right as a coach, a parent, a supporter, whoever, to set our kids up for optimal success?
nothing will compound at this part of the season faster and more than sleep.
Sleep. Okay.
It's not even close.
Got it.
And this is also the part of the year where now today it's different. March starts like
Yes.
you get this huge burst of energy and all the
Yeah.
things are right. But maybe for your son, 17 and 0, still got some more games to play,
Yep.
things like that. You kind of get that lull,
Hmm.
right? There's additional body fatigue.
Yes.
Joints start to beat up. You don't feel it per se, especially a junior. Not gonna
Yeah.
feel right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah. I know. Pretty amazing. Yes.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
But so sleep is paramount to those types
Always
of
sleep.
things.
Yeah.
Stuff that also starts to pop up a lot is your fitness, your strength are reasonably stable, especially if
Yes.
you're active like that. Your skill and your speed drop really
Yes.
fast.
Mhm.
And so what we like to do at this part of the season is we bring volume down, of course,
Yep.
because residual fatigue is high, but you
Yes.
don't want to stop going powerful and fast
Right.
because that will be transient. And so
Mhm.
a little bit of work, but really hit the explosive stuff and really hit the skill work.
Right.
Right. So we don't want to lose our conditioning. I'm not saying take off, like stop doing your defensive drills and all that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, you do that, but tone the volume down a little bit, bring it there, and then really hit that peak explosion, peak power, peak strength
Mhm.
stuff. Keep that thing dialed. You'll actually, people are stunned to hear, but when we get the playoffs in the NFL, I mean, we're doing almost one rep maxes in the weight room. People are
That's
like,
wild.
"Whoa, we thought you're like." stretching and stuff. We're like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
Like we need to be strong. If any point in the season, we need to be our maximum
Yeah.
capacity right now. Everything else is pulled back and dialed. And we're not doing that many reps and all that stuff. But like you need to get peaking, and that's what peaking looks like. Their
Yes.
skill, and since strength is a skill, it's that too. And then recovery, and the recovery via sleep is also incredible because that's what gets your brain to peak.
Mhm.
And so that's exactly what we're looking for is our biggest golden nuggets. Take that stuff super seriously.
I love that. Thank you so very much. I will pass that on. Next question, if good, is when you are training for a particular activity or a particular event, and my curiosity on this one is, are you a big component of like cross training in terms of getting lots of different exposure to different types of things? Should you be dialing in specifically on one? So let's say you're training for a marathon. Would you suggest that we want to really lock in on just getting miles and reps in? Are you a big advocate of like, no, you also got to be on the bike. You also got to be rucksacking it. Like, what are your thoughts on when you are doing a particular thing in terms of that cross distribution of your training?
Yeah, it's super easy. Specificity wins without question.
Okay, cool.
Without question. This actually pairs perfectly with the previous answer because the way that
Yeah,
we cut volume down at the end there and we allow for more skill time is we take out anything that's not basketball,
I love that.
right? In the weight room, peak strength, speed stuff, maybe a little bit of maintenance joint health stuff, and then the rest of it's gone. Like there's
Got
no
it.
running anymore. Not on the basketball court. Like
Mhm.
precision matters most. So the physiological principle is called the SAID principle,
Mhm.
SAID, specific adaptation to imposed demand. What that means is the single best thing you could ever do to get better at hitting a golf ball is to hit a golf ball
Hit a golf ball. I love it. Yes.
and hit it on the course. Hit it with
Yes.
your gear
In
on, with your
context.
driver. Like that is the
Mm.
best thing we can do because skill is so transient.
Yes.
You want to maximize that. So if you are within put it this way, if you're 16 weeks out from a marathon, I'm fine with a little bit of that stuff. When you go from
Got it.
16 to 12, we should be probably like
Mm.
90% marathon prep. When we go from 12
Yeah.
weeks to 8 weeks, we're pretty close to that too. And when the last 4 weeks, like it's marathon running.
Yeah. Just
But
running.
that's really all we're doing. Again, outside of activation work
Mhm.
or things that just like make your shoulder feel a little bit better. Okay,
Mhm.
fine. But no, you don't want to be messing with general stuff that close to season or that
Yeah.
close to competition. The one exception here is the younger you are, literally as a human being, the less we worry about specificity.
Right.
Like we are hyper, and in fact, there are very specific what are called long-term athletic development models
Mhm.
(LTADs),
Yes.
and you'll see this where as a 14-year-old, we're not doing any changing or peaking or tapering unless it's like your all-star game or like fine,
Yeah.
but we're not doing that type of stuff. And if you contrast that to a 31-year-old, we're
Mhm.
doing almost all specificity at that point. So we want to run that gamut. What you'll see really consistently is people will what we call train through. So
Yes.
you might have a race or competition, and like you don't actually increase specificity because you're still looking at like this happens with our Olympic athletes. We have a
Mhm.
quad, which means we have like a 4 year window. So if
Yes.
we're in year one of that quad, and we're 3 years away from the Olympics. If we get to too much precision and specificity too soon, we're
Yes.
compromising year 4.
Mhm. Yes.
And so we would look at it like on a 4 year thing where when we're 4 months out from the Olympics, it's only
Yes.
specificity because we've had 3.5 years or 3.9 years of building general stuff up there. Like we are literally
Yeah.
only doing the thing as much as humanly possible. So
Yeah.
you want to
Mhm.
consider that part of the journey and
Yeah.
I'm saying that because you brought up your kids earlier, is
Yeah.
you got to be really careful with specificity,
Mhm.
especially prior to 15 to 16 years old. Like
Yeah.
really, really limit specificity and hedge as much as you can towards general.
Yeah. I love that. And that is so refreshing as somebody who has supported athletes in multi-sport and, this notion of trying to get them to like specify their sport and their skill sets and like, when they're like 10, 11, and 12, it's like, no, like and it's funny because even my boys will tell you that like concepts and practices that they learned on a soccer pitch has actually served them so well in basketball and vice versa. And again, I love that idea of that kind of multi-sport athlete in those younger years, to begin just to really focus on that general piece and then getting more specific as they age up and level up. Curiosity question. I guess all questions are curiosity points, but is there a favorite type of athlete that you love to work with? In terms of like a sport or a temperament or what? I know you mentioned one of your athletes who obviously professional football player doing that thing, but is there like your go-to that you're like when you see that on your docket, you're like, "Oh, this is gonna be good. I like working with these athletes."
Yeah, it's a really good question. I have different loves for I'm not, like, skating the question, but I have different
Yeah, yeah.
love for different avatars, whether
Of
that's
course.
actually sport or personality.
Yeah.
What I love about NFL players is so NFL plays on Sunday.
Yes.
Typically, Monday is still a working day, and players get Tuesday off. So they
Yeah.
don't get the day of after the game off. And the reason that is Monday is what most people in NFL call tell the truth Monday,
That's right.
which means
So
the game happened. You're going to come in,
yeah.
you're going to watch the game in ultra slow motion and 4K,
Mhm. Yeah.
and there's no like
Yeah.
getting around the truth of
No.
exactly what you screwed up and did well and all those things. So what I really enjoy about most NFL players is they're so professional and they're so used to criticism.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to personality protect much.
I love that. Yeah,
It's
you're right.
really, really nice. They're just they own it, they get
Mhm.
it. That may also allows me to screw up,
Yes.
and they're like, great, and I don't have to worry about like whatever the case is, right? You can have it's the app. I mean, there's different personalities across the whole
Of
thing, but
course.
in the avatar, they're generally the highest group of people who will take the most accountability directly.
Interesting. I love that information.
The
That's
NBA is
amazing.
horrific with that. Horrific, right? Like the NBA is the opposite.
Yes.
Major League Baseball is all over the map
Uh-huh.
with that. That's different. Where you will see a similar level of precision and dedication is in fighters.
Okay.
And that's nice because the sport is so complicated and
Mhm.
there's so much pressure because they get to compete once a year.
Yes.
Where in the NFL, you screw up, you got 17 more of them or 16 more
Yes.
that season plus playoffs, plus you got multiple seasons. You can really just have a bad day and whatever the case is.
Mhm.
Not that big a deal. In the UFC,
Yeah. Not
one
forgiving.
loss sets you back
Yeah.
multiple years, if
Yes.
not your whole career, and
Yeah.
you get half the money, and they're
Mhm.
not getting that much money as it is, and they're competing with
Mhm.
like it's just a really difficult thing. In most sports, there's a time limit. So if you get
Mhm.
way behind the first quarter, you can come back. In the UFC, the fight can be over in 3 minutes, in three
Yeah.
seconds.
In 2 seconds. Yeah.
Like
I was gonna say literally 2 seconds. Yes.
you can
Yeah.
imagine playing basketball and someone comes out and they hit a three the first possession, the game's over.
Game's over. Yep.
It's just
Yes.
really so it's like the pressure's so high,
Yes.
because the game can literally be over. I mean,
Yeah.
legitimately over, without anything happening, or
Mhm.
the inverse. You can just be crushing and then something bad happens there.
Yeah.
So that's fun because those people are almost always very all in. Like they're
Yes.
just as all in as it gets.
Yeah.
And then I connect with those folks emotionally a lot because I'm like, hey, this is
The
really hard,
stakes are so high.
and
Yeah.
the stakes are so high
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. I remember working with, George St. Pierre, a fellow Canadian. We're a big fan, and I remember listening to him describe, obviously, his training schedule leading up to, a fight, but the amount of, like, mental work that he puts in, I don't think most people realize that. Like, his psychology game is as impressive as his, like, physical game, and, again, just realizing, again, how quickly and how high stakes it is, and realizing like, your best laid plans, you have to be able to adapt that nimbleness, that adaptation on the fly. It's just so remarkable to see
Yeah.
how in tune they are with their bodies to be able to understand that
And
and
their
to be
training
able
schedule
to
is brutal.
it's wild. It's absolutely wild. I remember him talking about him needing, like, his neck warm up was, like, 40 minutes, like, literally just to warm up his neck. I'm like, "Dude, how do you fit in all of this if your neck warm up schedule was, like, something wild like 40 minutes?" So,
Yeah.
I really love that perspective. And, interestingly, what you were saying about NFL players, a colleague of mine, he's an official in the NFL, and they also do the Truth Mondays after, for
Oh
them.
yeah.
And, 98.1% of the time their calls are correct, but then all of a sudden millions of people are watching these calls in real time. And just the psychological acuity that's required to be able to do it, it's amazing. And I think that brings such an important piece as we start to kind of land the plane here in our conversation, is around the fact that so many people, I think, are afraid of feedback. And the reality is that, if we can answer that question, so again, as a takeaway for our listeners, like, you are your own expert. Like, you and what you're doing, what's not working, what is working. And if you can actually answer the question, like, if I'm being honest with myself, I know I'm not trying as hard, right? If I'm being honest with myself, I'm literally looking for a quick solution, and the boring stuff, it isn't sexy enough, so I'm not doing it. Like, if people can actually give themselves feedback and be open to feedback, which is why I always advocate you need a coach in every domain of your life if you want to be high performing and sustain it, because I think that feedback piece is so incredibly important. And I will also hold space to say, as somebody who's very involved in the basketball community, the feedback piece, I don't think we've got that figured out yet, which explains why at your level, in terms of when you're working with the athletes, there's some growth opportunities there.
That's a great way to say it. I have coaches that I pay, for the record.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
like, personally, like, for strength conditioning.
Yes.
I don't have my own training programs. I
Of
haven't
course.
in years and years and years. If it's not a cost thing, but it is simply, it's a far better strategy, to have people in your circle, uh, telling you the truth.
Oh, 100%. And we kind of use this example, and I believe I got it from Jay Papasan from the One Thing, where he talked about, like, if you had to, like, put money on somebody, and one person, and for whatever the outcome is that you're hoping for them to achieve, and person number one has read all the books and listened to some pretty sweet podcasts. Person number two has, like, talked to their friends, right? Talked to their friends, got information that way. Person number three has a coach, and you had to bet on the outcome, you're always going to bet on person number three, right? Like, no podcast, no, any of these pieces of information are going to move that generic information into real world application for you in such a meaningful way. So I'm a huge advocate. Last question before I, again, just shower you with praise and thanks and appreciation. You have puppies as well in your world. They have been so well behaved. Oh my goodness. Who are your little furry critters? Because they look like little fur missiles who need some time
That
to be
is
introduced.
Noki.
Noki?
She is 16.
Oh.
She can't hear anything at all, which is why she's behaving so well. She can barely see anymore, and do much, but
Like,
she is a half corgi, half Aussie.
oh,
And then probably wandering in the back, he may have walked by a bunch, is
we saw him.
Ghostface
Yeah.
Killer.
Ghostface Killer.
Yep.
Nice. Is that his short name? That's the full name,
Th
Ghostface Killer?
Yeah, Ghostface Killer, yeah, that's his
Yeah,
name.
good. Okay, I love it.
And he is a half German, half Aussie. They're mutts, of course,
Yeah.
on that, and so, he is 11 years old, I think, and
Oh,
significantly worse behaved,
yes.
in one way, but, uh,
They make it better.
yeah,
They make it all better. Yeah, we have 3 here. I'm sure you've heard, we had Memphis Rain, the one-year-old chocolate Labrador, his sister Navy Blue, she got in there as well, and Apollo, the 8-year-old, the mix, very wise elder here. And I loved when my dogs barked that, you're obviously now I know why your dog did not flinch.
she can't
So
hear.
yeah, she can't hear it. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, Dr. Andy, you are a gem. Thank you so much for being just so useful, practical, real, and just blowing through all of the noise that's in this physical health space. You are a one of one, and I just so appreciate you spending time with us today. So thank you.
Just can't thank you enough for the compliments, I really appreciate it, and, hopefully people got something useful out of this, and good luck to you on your journey.
I appreciate you. Thanks.
Thank you for spending time with me on this episode of Life by Design. I appreciate if you have a moment to pay this forward, share it with someone who you think might benefit from the ideas shared in this episode.
you're feeling so inspired, please also rate and review the podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Take good care, and I'll see you next time.